you have to naturally be someone who loves and enjoys conversing because you can't fake it.
Yeah.
Thando talks. That's him. He loves engaging intellectually and all those sort of things. You cannot try and say, no, I'll just do it professionally if it doesn't come naturally.
If my wife finds me kissing,
I think the podcast starts now.
yeah. So if my wife finds me kissing my ex, that is not the crisis.
There's a guy who ate the man.
Someone ate the man.
Well, we had 4 friends. We were busy sending money. We wanted to mention his name in case he gets embarrassed. So we'll work out and put together money and say, guys, we want to open a firm together. We sent it to this friend of ours in Harare. He ate the man.
Yeah. Never waste a crisis. Never waste a moment to talk about the problem that you are facing, because at that particular moment you are actually connecting with the new audience.
Hello everybody, welcome to Next Step. I am Nkomo Derby and I am so delighted for this episode. Today's episode is what I would call, in football's terms, the Nkomo Derby, because we have 2 Mr. Nkomos today who are going to be engaging and sharing with us the world of strategic communications. I'm really excited about this episode and I hope that it's going to be beneficial to everyone who's going to tune in. So stay tuned and enjoy.
Hello everybody, and I'm so excited to be on Next Step. Nkomo Derby has been hosting Next Step, and it's been a pleasure to see her do her magic. And guess what? This time around, she decides to put me on the spot. And here I am on the spot with my good friend Ndaba Nkomo. Welcome, Ndaba.
It's a pleasure being here, Nkomo. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. So just to fill you in, those of you who are following Next Step, just to fill you in, this is a friend of mine. We've known each other for how many years now?
Since 02, I think.
2002. Yes. And I as I was preparing for this, I was actually thinking, does Ndaba still remember how we actually met? Besides the fact that we met in class.
Yeah.
But I remember that you remember the assignment that we
yes,
went.
from Ronit.
Yeah, so we had an assignment. So our first interaction, I remember our first close interaction with that assignment, where we were going to write a story.
Yes.
This guy is in town there, and we went there. And I think
it was a Christian NGO of sorts.
Yes.
And because when you had I think you had entered at Masia camp or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what relationship you had with Masia camp or something of that sort, and you're using that particular network for us to actually go and design Ronit's story and draft it. Yeah.
So I mean, it's been quite a journey for us. It's been quite a journey for you. We from university we found ourselves venturing into the world of business.
Yeah.
You were in Harare, doing your thing.
Yeah, I was at Michael Hog Young and Rubicam at the time. It was a huge, monstrous advertising agency. It had Wonderman Kato Johnson, which was doing marketing.
Yeah.
It had what they call the production unit, where they'll do like what you guys do. They will cut high motion graphics, and there was the Michael Hog, which was the agency. We had exciting clients. At some point we were doing Metal on Gold, we were doing Zimblads, Delta Corporation, and then this is where this first Bureau of Exposure started. And I was still interning. That was my choice for internship, and then eventually my first job.
Yeah. And so let's go back to that time when you were at
Michael Hog.
At Michael Hog. Let's talk about the time at Michael Hog, and tell us about that time. What was on your mind? How were you pivoting for yourself, looking ahead into the future?
Michael Hog was it was a giant. Like I said, it was the giant of that time in terms of advertising, communication, and everything else. So what happened is that Boma Tender, they called us, guys, Nkomo, what do you want to do? I said, PR and stuff like that. So I then got placed at Michael Hog with one of our classmates at the time. So you get it was in Northridge Park in Borodale, first floor. So I got there, you look at the parking lot and you're like, oh my goodness. It was a predominantly white firm. And the structure, there was network public relations, which is where I was actually stationed. Like I said, there was Wanda Carter Johnson, and then there was the production unit, and it was a proficient agency. The volume of work and the structure and the organization, that was impressive.
Yeah.
That was very, very impressive. And I remember being there, and they're like, and then when you're an intern and you're listening to these guys, they deliberately use these funny terms, internal terms. No, guys, when you do this, let's put it on 6 gig. And I'm like, what is this now? And then you're looking, you're afraid to ask, you're like, what if I sound stupid, And and you're like, so no, then I'll talk to this other lady that we're intending to. Now, if they're saying this, what exactly does it mean? Then with time, but the advantage, one thing that I want to give NAST credit for is that I was there for actually 13 months. And I don't know if that's still the case. Internship is a full year. So I was there 13 months. So the first few months, you're still trying to find out. But eventually, you find your feet, you get comfortable, start asking questions, and then that's when the learning starts.
Yeah. And so we go back to college after internship.
Yeah.
And do you remember that we actually wanted to go into business?
Yes.
So next step, followers, know that the reason why I'm not in business with Ndaba is because
there's a guy who ate the man.
Someone ate the man.
We had 4 friends. We were busy sending money. We wanted to mention his name in case he gets embarrassed. So we'll work hard and put together money and say, guys, we want to open a firm together. We sent it to this friend of ours in Harare. He ate the money.
Yeah. So and now the money is eaten.
Yeah.
And do you remember how we then went around town fundraising?
Yes.
I remember there
was a bishop.
There's one bishop.
There was a bishop who was kind enough to say, guys, did he say he'll give us furniture or his space?
He offered us furniture. I remember we visited, our first potential client was actually the Bulawayo City Council. We visited the late Patisanyati.
Yes,
It's like,
yes.
no, guys, when you are ready, come up. So essentially we're visionaries.
So that is very correct, because even the grace, I still remember that bishop. It's like, guys, the furniture is available. Just do this thing, because we're trying to say maybe we'll find employment, maybe we'll not. I was like, you know what? I think I don't remember if it was your idea or mine, but I'll say it was yours.
Yeah, it's okay. It was my idea. It was my idea. For the record, it was my idea. And the guys ditched on me. Yeah, this guy. So the long and short of it is that so we graduated from college, and obviously we started building our careers.
Yeah.
Tell us about how you went to Botswana. And what it is that you are doing now in Botswana.
So I was in Harare. I went back to Michael Hog. It had rebranded. It had been, I think there was a management buyout of some sort. It had rebranded to Mnager Comms. That's where I was working. And then, so there I was. And then I got a phone call from Mr. Nkomo in Gaborone. He says, Nkomo, what are you doing in Harare? I was like, Chief, I'm still trying to push. He's like, come here. And that Mr. Nkomo, of course, was you. He was working at a newspaper called The Mirror. It was stationed in Selibe Pikwe in Gaborone. So you were the editor. And then I think they wanted a marketing manager. So you called me, says, Ndaba, we've been trying to hustle, man, maybe let's try the region. And that's where you called me to come and join you at the Mirror. We pushed there I was coming from an ad agency. So I think at the time I'd been pushing at Mnager for about 2 years. I'd done my 13 months at Michael Hog. Then when it was still Michael Hog before it transitioned to Mnager Communications. And then after I'd done about 2 years, that's when you called, saying, Nkomo, come here. So I was like, you know what, I'm young, still in my early 20s or mid 20s, if I'm not mistaken. And then I jumped to the bus. My sister, I would say, thank you. She gave me 100 pula to say, Ndaba, here's 100 pula, jump into the bus, go to Gaborone and see what we can do. And then, So after we pushed at the mirror, I think I did the mirror for about 3 months. Then I joined one of the, it was the most leading PR firm in Botswana called Hotwire. It's still sizzling hot. Interesting leader, dynamic. There's a lot to learn from Rekabelo Bins. He was my boss. So we're doing PR under his guidance and leadership for his team. Brilliant mind.
And maybe just to cut you short, I remember during that time when you transitioned from the Mirror to the PR firm.
Yes.
We were both, looking for jobs.
Yeah, I think you found you got a magazine.
Yes, I went into the magazine.
Into a magazine. Was it Mining something?
It was Business Leaders.
Yes.
But what I found interesting, in particular for your transition, was how you literally walked into a job. You had forgotten that you actually, I remember you were so excited to say, I went in there and I said, I'm looking for a job. And they're like, how did you know that there's a vacancy? Do you remember that?
I remember.
And I think for me, as someone who has always given advice to others, to those who are behind us, to say, you know what, you always need to be prepared for that opportunity.
Yeah.
You cannot wait for the opportunity to knock at your door for you to be prepared to take it up. Yeah. And yet there you were, prepared to walk into an opportunity, prepared to take up an opportunity. And I think it's safe to say that the rest is history.
No, the rest is indeed history. So I worked for Hotwire for about 2 years. Then I was called by a gentleman called Dumi Lopang, one of the entrepreneurs in Botswana. He says, Ndaba, come, we are starting a PR company. Come for an interview. So I went for an interview. Then I got interviewed, and then I got my first job. They're saying, no, you're the general manager. The company didn't exist in terms of, it was a huge advertising agency called Horizon Ogilvy and Mather. They wanted to have a PR company. So they said, can you be that guy? I went for the interview, did the interview, then they do psychometrics and all those sort of things. They said, no, you can start the business. Here's a laptop. Wow, okay. And then that's when I started the PR division for Ogilvy. It was called Integrate. I started from scratch. At its peak, it had 15 employees. It was a trailblazer in terms of the PR solutions, strategic communications, and everything else. I did it for 7 years, and then until that was my next step for me to start my next chapter.
Yeah. So tell us now about the practice. That is your baby that you've built up over the couple of years. Yeah. Won some awards as well.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to the invitation to your next award ceremony when you win. I mean, tell us about that. Tell me about that.
So I'm very grateful for the Horizon Ogilvy opportunity, because you are not at home. And then you are given an opportunity to start a company, and I had done Hotwire for about 2 or 3 years, and here there are guys saying, you know what, Ogilvy gave me that exposure in terms of the craft, the solutions, trying to outthink one another. Botswana is very hyper competitive when it comes to comms and marketing. It's one of the brilliant minds, because Botswana is a big regional force, because they deal with a lot of home brands, and then of a lot of South African brands and international brands. So the standard and levels to which you are supposed to produce the quality of work. So that exposure with the setup of Integrate, I think it gave me the confidence to say, you know what, I can do this. So when the time came, I went to my superiors and I said, you know what, I think there's an opportunity for us. So what was happening is that the PR company and the advertising were merging, and then I thought it was time for me to actually, because I thought that this transition in the business as well is actually an opportunity. So I spoke to them. It was a difficult conversation, because they're the coolest guys ever, and I'm very grateful. Even when I did my master's in strategic management at the University of Derby, my company that was running paid for it, and I'll always be grateful for such opportunities. So after that huge exposure, it was easy for me to say, okay, guys, now can I transition? And they gave me the blessing, and then the PR practice was born, and it's been 8 years now of running the business. Started more or less like one laptop, similar story, press repeat. But this time, of course, we have the pleasure of knowing that you are the director. It's your baby. It's your business.
Great stuff. So now let's focus on the work that you do.
The work, yeah.
What excites you the most when you wake up in the morning to go to your office, to interact with your team? What excites you? What is the fuel that says, this, I want to go in the morning and do this?
The fuel for me is the wonder of this youthful team. We don't give young people enough opportunities. But I've got a very, very, very youthful team. They are crazy. They work hard and they drink. Those guys drink. They drink. Yo. Those guys drink. But they grind, They grind. I even set up a bar. Our boardroom is a bar, so that on a Thursday and Fridays, after pushing, let the guys just do their thing. But now going into the zeal of creativity, young people are crazy in terms of their thinking, the direction, the energy, and the zeal. If they buy into your vision, you sell the vision to say, guys, the peer practice has to be the go-to strategic communication solution in the region, and let's rally behind that. You give a detailed roadmap, and they buy into it. Nothing. So for me, is the zeal in terms of the way. I remember when the peer practice was still new, there was a bid which was out to say, we want to rebrand Letlolela Rona. It's a listed real estate company. It's one of the most best performing real estate companies in Botswana. It was also in the region. Had been to Kenya. Now they've sold off that particular asset. They said, no, we want to rebrand. And I was like, guys, rebranding, really, with bids, we are still new, if we bid, they say we are, we need to still put the name out there. And the guys said, no, Mr. Nkomo. They call me Mr. Ndaba in Botswana. I said, no, Mr. Ndaba, we are not, we are going for this bid. They put one of the most prestigious competitive bids ever, and we won the bid for rebranding. Rebranded Letlole, created new brand assets for them in terms of the identity, the icon from the iconography, the inspiration for the colors, the tones, and everything else, having the target in mind, the level in terms of as a company. We won it and rolled it out. And that was the first of, I think, we've rebranded about 5 companies in Botswana. We rebranded Botswana Insurance Company. It's the largest short-term insurance company in Botswana. It's part of Zimnat here. Zimnat is one of the shareholders, Masawara, with Sanlam. We did their rebranding, and after that, we also rebranded InsureGuard. It's another short-term insurance company. We're like on this on this roller coaster in terms of rebranding, and it just doesn't know rebranding. It's the strategy and the comms behind the science of why we are doing what we're doing. I mean, we're one of the first hyper competitive agencies to do Botswana Insurance Company, and we're part of the strategic output that made the number 1 in the market. And then we appreciate the opportunity from Newton and his team, and we've done very impressive work. 5 years, and we measured with mattresses as well, because gone are the days where marketers erect billboards from Beitbridge all the way to Harare, Mutare, and you say we are creating value. Right now it's the mattresses. What are the mattresses? Yeah. What are the indices? What are we measuring? What is the consumer saying? Are we in line? Are we improving the leads and everything else? Are we creating understanding for the brand? So from those young people saying, Mr. Ndaba, we are doing this. We are not going back. Yeah. So we've gone ahead now we've positioned over 5 companies in rebranding. We've been involved in dozens of crisis and corporate strategic work in the market.
And just to follow on that now and
Yeah.
say, we've done a lot of work in Botswana.
Yeah,
You've won some awards.
yeah,
You've built a great team.
yeah.
If you look back,
Yeah.
what would you say is the one most memorable campaign that you've done?
There's that's a very tricky question. I always enjoy crisis because usually if you are given a crisis brief, it's when things are not making sense. It's when it's hot, people are angry, stakeholders are going bananas, the board is shouting, the stakeholders are losing confidence, and there's no other way of saying you solved a crisis rather than a solution where people, because the crisis is usually public, people know that things are very, very bad or they are horrendous. And when it's like that, there's only one way ticket, you have to solve it.
Yeah.
So when we take up a crisis and they're supposed to come up with strategic communications, that's usually that's my purest moment in terms of work. We've been involved in dozens of crisis cases. I'll highlight just one because it's public record and I'll not be breaking any confidentialities. It was the Bona Life case where there were issues in terms of the shareholder at the time was linked to some Ponzi scheme in Mauritius, and then now there were Botswana funds that were locked in terms of that particular company, and then we're supposed to actually. So we're called. Here's the situation. So working with the CEO at the time, a brilliant mind. So us as comms people were to say, let's protect Botswana's funds. Let's report ourselves that, guys, our shareholders have been linked to this. We want to put this company under judicial management. So what that does mean, that means that it's actually the state or the courts take over. Then you protect the balance sheet, you protect the investments, the funds, because there are pension funds involved. So the best way to deal with the crisis is not when guys are saying they're investigating. So you say, guys, you know what, we've got something to tell you. Yeah. Our shareholders are being investigated for corruption. There's some sponsor scheme things that are being highlighted, etc. We thought as business editors and publishers, you should know this. But here's what we've done. The company with immediate effect is under judicial management. All the Botswana funds, at least whatever is available now, is safe.
Yeah.
Now that's crisis communication. Other guys will say, no comment, I'm not talking about this. We tell them that, no, thank you very much for actually highlighting this. We talk to the stakeholders, different stakeholders, drafted communications, the outlines, what's possible. Right now it's a resolute business, and BPOPF is one of the richest pension fund managers in Africa now, or owns the company outright, and then they bought it back from. It was a long and diverse and legal maneuvers, but we're happy that we're the PR firm of choice in terms of driving that strategic solutions.
Amazing work. Now, all these years that you have been building up to Mr. Ndaba, right? Obviously, you've faced some setbacks. There've been valleys, and there've been downtime moments. I remember one time. I think one of our downtimes when we were just the two of us in Botswana was this one day when we were so broke.
Yes.
And we were so
broke. Did you have porridge for supper?
We were so broke, we couldn't. Of all the people in our contacts, none of them could help us
just to get supper.
I remember. Yeah, we couldn't even buy a loaf of bread. So we slept. We slept and we woke up. But that was definitely one of the down. But I'm sure there've been others. Maybe
no,
just
for me,
talk about
for me, at the height of our growth, it was exciting. The team was growing. The volume of work was explosive. And then what then happened for me, the most painful decision that I've had to make was that the team grew too big as well, and because in the midst of that, the revenues were good and everything was growing, and so as a result, and then there was this season where clients are just not spending, and they're like, oh my goodness, what's going on there, clients are not spending, and you look and realize that this year what's going on, you pull the usual Ndaba magic, what's and then realize that no, because how the revenues work is that you've got retained clients. Retainers is this constant income which is contractual, where company A can say, we are paying you X amount for you to do our marketing services or to do our PR services or to combine both, or have digital solutions or a complete 360. So the retainers become robust. And then outside of retainers, you also do production work. Guys can come and say, do the media buying. Can you come and do production? We've got we're going to ZITF. We want a beautiful stall, or want 10,000 T-shirts for activations. So that is extra revenues that come through as well. So what happened is that we are so excellent in PR and stuff that we ended up attracting a lot of marketing accounts. So, but marketing accounts are heavy in terms of investment, because for marketing, you need to make sure that you have a proper, fully fledged studio of experienced people, solid studio guys. You need solid client services director. You need a client services manager. You need it's a bit heavy. So there's a point where you accumulate a lot of marketing accounts, and actually what drives them in terms of revenue, it's their expenditure outside of the retainer. But we got into this season where we're just being paid the retainer. But in terms of, I think, our fundamentals, we projected that there will always be work outside of the retainer. So that was a very, 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 very tough period. So we needed to, I think some 5 years ago or so, we needed to actually right-size the team. That was a very, very painful decision that I had to make. So I'll consider that a law. But we tried, even during that time. I used my industry contacts to say, guys, we are right-sizing, but I've got part of the most creative people. We managed to get all of them employed elsewhere, with the exception of one who needed to plant his own trade, and then he became a supplier to the PR practice. So what's important with those things is to relearn the fundamentals. So we completely changed our model. Now we will always have bulk of PR accounts which come naturally, as our name suggests, PR practice. And then with marketing accounts, we don't go gang on that. Just have 1, 2. Right now, I think we've got about 2 marketing accounts. All of the accounts that we have, it's either strategy accounts or PR and comms accounts or digital. Because so on marketing, we are now being deliberate that we want to invest heavily in terms of marketing accounts, because in terms of human capital, they are quite at least. So the problems change from us not eating or not having supper to now where
Now you know that there's something.
Now you know there's supper, but now there are the more complicated decisions to deal with. Yeah.
Indeed. So you mentioned earlier that the youth fueled they fuel your
the vision.
The vision.
Yes.
Let's talk about success.
Yeah.
Your formula. You've said something about the youth. In addition to the youth, what would you say is your formula for success?
No,
it's a difficult question.
It's a very difficult question, Nkomo, because as a Christian, I personally believe that whatever was meant to be on your path, if you work hard enough, it shall be obtained. I honestly believe that there is a reason that even remember when we left to Botswana, I think you went back to NAST, etc. Your path became more of a corporate path, where you moved into corporate, but you also run your own comms firm. So you balance in your journey. It's a balance between corporate and entrepreneurship. I genuinely believe that my path was entrepreneurship, to say, let me run this. So the formula for it is, I don't know if there's any. I just work, I try and work very, very hard. And why I found myself in entrepreneurship, I really don't know. There was just a point where I said, I can try this. And I want to give credit to Rati as well. That's my wife. At some point when I wanted to say I'm leaving Ogilvy, I got scared to say, but it was comfortable. I was living a comfortable life. The kids had gotten used to a certain lifestyle and the way of doing things. There was no, it's not like there was at times you are pushed into entrepreneurship where, these entrepreneurs, the way you are retrenched and now, you're retrenched and now like I have no choice. But for me, really, it was comfortable and Rati really encouraged me to say, Ndaba, go for it.
It's the time.
It's the time.
Yeah.
So I think it was always in my journey, and I just work hard. I've got bad days, I've got good days, but I've been leading, it's either my business or other people's business for a combined 15 years as a managing director, and so I think the experience gave me the confidence. But I think just remain in the league, no matter what. There are teams, if you watch the Premier League well, then they never win the Premier League, but they're always in the league. It's simply, they're always there. So it simply means that when you are one day when you are playing big teams, there's also money for you as well. So I think what's important is to always remain in the league. That is if you are in the entrepreneurial journey, because one day you may find a check of your life.
Great. So I want to round up now. I'm going to ask you one difficult question before we then
you always have to end with it.
We're just knocking you around. Now I want the meat.
Yeah.
So you've been leading 15 years.
Yeah.
Thereabout. Right. And so this is a question that's probably you are guiding someone who's going to be asked this question at a job interview. What's your leadership style? What would you say is your leadership style? What's your approach to leading?
My approach to leadership is inspiration. Inspire your team. So the step number one, your vision should be attractive enough for people to say, you know what, I can fight for that. I can stand for that. Or, I believe in that. That's number one. And number two, inspire them. I don't micromanage. You know what the task is. You know your risk. Allow the team to make decisions. Don't outsource it, and make them to make judgment calls as well. Because at times there are people afraid to make the wrong things because I'll mess this up. Give them the authority, the latitude to do work. What they do is that they'll learn a lot. They'll learn in the process. They're inspired and they can change the fortunes of the business. I don't micromanage and say, can you tell me everything that we've done from morning until lunch? And then, no, you didn't do enough. After lunch, I want something better. Now it's instead of you inspiring and leading so that you get the optimal value, now you're micromanaging and you're actually making the workplace toxic.
And I think that's a very important conversation, because sometimes leaders feel that leadership is where you actually coax people, or where you actually extract outputs out of somebody. But yet, like you're saying, inspire someone so that they actually bring it out on their own. And I think it works well when you are able to inspire, to direct, motivate.
Definitely.
Sometimes even come down to that person's level and say, okay, how can I help you?
Exactly.
And then that then makes the work go. Now we want to wrap up. Now we are wrapping up.
Yeah.
10 years from now.
Yeah.
Where do we see Mr. Ndaba? That's the first part. That's part A.
Part A,
10 years from
today.
now. Yeah. Don't talk about retirement. We're planning that together. So I don't want to say I'm retiring. I can't say I'm retiring.
No, you're too young. You're too young.
Side. I mean, I'm just remembering. This is a side one.
Yeah.
There's a guy who always says, "You don't retire.
That's true.
You retire at death." So we are not retired.
No, we are not. We are not.
So we can change offices, we can
Yes.
change job
Or you
titles.
can
Yeah.
you can reduce the load
Yes.
of your work as you
Yeah.
grow older, but you should definitely remain in the game.
Yeah. So in your response to 10 years from now,
Yeah.
where do you see Mr. Ndaba? Add some advice for someone who is maybe a young professional, someone at university, who is also thinking about 10 years from now.
Yeah, yeah.
What can you advise them? Because you've got your 10 years,
They've
they've
got
got
their
your
own
10
10
years.
years as
Where
well.
can we meet? I always tell some young people whenever I interact with them, say, you know what, guys, you're in high school, you're in A level. 10 years from now, you'll be 28. Let's meet by the traffic by the traffic lights there at the intersection. That's where we're going to meet.
Yeah.
I'm driving my car. You're driving
You're
your car.
driving yours.
Yeah. And you are famous. So don't forget me. So what's your
10 years, I've managed to, I had a PhD topic which I struggled to get a supervisor for, that I finally found a supervisor. So I'm a PhD candidate for doing the Blue Ocean strategy related to small enterprises in Botswana and Zimbabwe. I'm bringing my experience at home and in Botswana to try and see what the Blue Ocean strategy is doing to this particular markets. Are they opportunities? What are the limits? Can we challenge the theory within our context? So why I'm doing that in particular is because I want to cement my space as a thinker and the thought leader in our space, where I really believe that as Africa, the future of our unemployed youth, the future of everything that's going on relies on small enterprises' ability and capability to grow. In European markets, like countries like Germany, you have that family enterprises, small enterprises are actually strong economic players. So I believe definitely there's a lot of space. That's why I chose this topic. So I want to be a thinker where, in terms of the things that I've done, the things that I've learned in my craft, when you say you're a doctor, people call me Ndaba, but when my doctorate is done, I want my full name back. Dr. Ndabezinhle Nkomo. It makes you look sophisticated. So that's the part that I want to weigh. It's thought leadership. It's space where let's contribute and build a melting pot of ideas of how we change our circumstances. Let's build businesses that promote employment. Let's inspire young people to do different things. So that is where I want to do in the. I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Don't hope it takes 10 years for me to finish. I'm just hoping I finish within the normal period of time. But then in the next 10 years, definitely that's the space I'd love to drive at. And then in terms of young people, I like the fact that you spoke about our struggles together when we were after graduation, where we were trying to push entrepreneurship. When guys were eating our money. You work hard, say you're putting money on the side to start a business. Guys tell you, I'm registering a company. No, the signatures are no longer needed. Money is not there. So I think for us, what happened is that we cast our net wide. You see what I mean? When the employment wasn't coming fast enough, we're saying, Nkomo, let's do it ourselves. Yeah. Let's try. And we're knocking on doors, we're knocking on churches. I think at some point we wanted us to do a website for Highlanders or something. We once had that conversation saying, no, we cast our net wide, where we are trying to make sure that you don't rest, keep working, no matter what. Keep working, keep playing, Cast your net wide. We cast our nets wide. I ended up in Michael Hog. Why I got that gig is because during internship, whenever an opportunity is provided, it was just that opportunity where I was interning for those 13 months, they said, come back. So at times, if you've got a half a chance, in that little half a chance where you are called, come and do this thing for 2 hours, that may be the 2 hours that define your next step, like your program. You see what I did there? Yeah. So that whatever opportunity you have, optimize it. Yeah. No, it doesn't matter what. Even if someone says, come and help me pick up this thing, just remember, I used to do even trade fair. I don't know you remember, but at NAST, we were once called to come to the trade fair for a week. I think I was producing their magazine and stuff like that. I don't know what we're doing, but we also got those gigs, and you guys were doing radio. It's those little things where there was also radio dialogue, which we used to use it. Those little things, there were people that really went out to take advantage of those opportunities. They may be scarce, at times far in between. But when you get one cast on it wide, keep walking, keep trying, do it. Do not rest. And one day you realize that the dots just connect. That's my advice to young people. They've got the energy, let them use it.
I wasn't going to let this opportunity pass. This is by far one of the most exciting episodes I've ever recorded. I'm thrilled and super pumped up by the idea of strategic communications. I'm so aligned with that right now, which is part of the reason why we are working in ZITF. You mentioned something really interesting about just you being exploring how communications and marketing, is happening in Zim, which is the space that we're operating in right now.
Yeah.
We run a small little storytelling, videography, photography studio.
Yes.
Right over there.
Yeah, okay.
So we've been engaging quite a number of businesses.
Yeah.
In and around Zimbabwe.
Yes.
And we've really had a tough time finding corporates that are really that value in strategic communication.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there, brand communication, taking advantage of all their communications touch points. How have you found the current space to be compared maybe to Botswana, where you're operating from? Would you come and set up camp here, or have you seen any interesting opportunities?
Okay, there's a big line that I had in so this is, I've been the gateway in some instances to bring some of Zimbabwe's companies to Botswana. Not to bring as in when they are getting market entrance. I've been privileged to be the firm that helps in terms of marketing, in terms of PR. There's First Mutual here in Zim. In Botswana, they've got a reinsurance company called FMRE. So they one of the first. The first was Emeritus. Then FMRE followed in terms of setting up reinsurance in Botswana. We're the firm that was helping them with that in terms of positioning in the marketplace, etc., because of the credentials that we do. We also that was one of our clients, and then right now Emeritus, which is part of Zimre, it's another reinsurance company. It's one of our current clients right now. They've got a presence in the region, in Malawi, in Mozambique, and through other networks, they've got a robust regional trust. So because of being dual, I'm able to have opportunities like that. And then I'll speak directly to your case as a videographer and everything else. So the bulk of the work for your line of work is usually commissioned through agencies. There are marketing agencies here in Zim. There's Bacchus Ogilvy and some of the guys. So what then happens now is that when the natural thing that tends to happen is that they will go to an advertising agency and say, we want to do a corporate video, right? So now what the advertising agency does is that it will go through their database. Because most marketing firms, for them to say we are looking for a firm, they go directly. They've got a relationship usually with these ad agencies. So naturally, that's where they go. So in terms of market access, I will advise that you then create a relationship with your profile, etc. And if it means that, guys, I can do a sample for, at times you can volunteer some of your expertise. Even with the internet, at times they'll tell you, I know you can try this for 3 months. Kind of. I'm not saying do videos for 3 months. So what I'm simply saying is that at times people may say no because they don't No, even if you send your portfolio, it's there in the spam somewhere or whatever the case. So you can go there to those agencies, number one, because it's easy access. The bulk of the work is commissioned through advertising and marketing agencies. So be on that database list. Say, guys, I can do. If they say, guys, I'll even do a corporate profile for you as an agency for free. Let me do this. You do that now, you've got a hook. Now you've got some sort of relationship that sort of exists where that is where that is concerned. And then now that we've done that, they'll call you, Chief. We are doing a 50th anniversary. Can you do this? At times it doesn't start that big. At times it's we want a reel. We've got an event. Just record and give us a reel 5 minutes in terms of reduction and stuff. So the issue is always market access. And then the truth is that for your line of work, it's with ad agencies. But think regional as well. Don't just say it's Zim. The world is a very, very, very big place. We've been involved in rebranding for other countries outside of Africa where you just happen to be called up. So if you know expertise, there's a friend of mine who actually got is a designer. He actually got an offer to actually go to Dubai because he loaded his portfolio in some of this website, and then he got a phone call, legit everything, no, dude, your flights, what, etc, and stuff related to that. So also you take advantage of the existing ecosystem in the digital network, post your work and stuff. There's trade fair coming. Botswana companies and many international companies come here. Make sure that you show up and showcase your capability as well. Believe me, it will come through.
What's the biggest misconception about strategic communication?
At times, people strategic communication think it's common sense. You know, the challenges that at times we face in our space is when finance people are talking, no one asks questions. I know, we get it. No, we understand. Even if they do, EBITDA, yeah, correct. You know, same thing with tech guys. They come in, HR. Everyone seems to have their voices heard and well understood. But when it comes to comms and strategic comms or even marketing, the opinions are endless. Huh? No, those colors, guys. Why are you using these people? They look old. Everyone all of a sudden is an opinion. Everyone has something to say, and then that's the challenge that we face, and we always counter that by making sure that whatever matrices we are given, just achieve them. If they say we want you guys to help us in terms of pushing brand awareness, want to help us in terms of improving our sales funnels, let's try and make sure that we meet those indices.
What's the most effective way to measure comms success?
Yeah, the numbers, hey. The numbers tell a lot of stories. And I think comms is broad. So you are thinking about where are you communicating? Are you communicating online? So obviously if you're communicating online, you have to measure using those analytics that are available for you. Are you communicating through the media? Look at the analytics that are available for you. Of course, it's always a challenge to measure to get metrics around, say, print media, radio as well. But it's always you need to then find ways of then following the numbers, because you might be on radio today. You need to then say, how is that radio program fitting into specific actions that I can measure? You know, so how many of the people that will visit my business today can actually say, you know what, I heard about you on radio in the last couple of months. So it's your metrics. You need to think of your metrics as part of the overall strategy, where you actually say, I'm going to do action A, and I expect result B, and I am going to get that result through process A. So it's not your one size fits all. It's not your inky pinky ponky kind of thing. You have to actually be very, very strategic around it.
Okay, Mr. Nkomo.
No, in the digital frame of things, information now is everywhere. It's too much, and then I'm deliberate about strategic comms conferences that I attend, so that like for like minds, like being with Nkomo, any conversation with Mr. Nkomo, I take out extremely a lot. So your industry peers as well, spend time with them. I've got a lot of guys in Botswana, even in Zim. Internationally, I've got international partners for certain solutions. So it helps to blend the digital world and the real peers on the ground. It goes a long way.
How do you approach crisis communication?
I love crisis. Like, I literally love crisis. Crises are very interesting. They are so interesting. I think partly because I'm wired to solve problems. So how do you approach crisis? Obviously, understand the context. Understand the context. Understand who's the most affected by the crisis. Who's the most angry, you know? Usually there is the one who is who is angrier than the one who is affected. You know, so your organization could be facing a crisis, but you find that the people out there, they are more angrier than you. So understanding the dynamics in terms of who is more affected by the crisis is very important. Also understand who is causing the crisis. You know, anyone who's been following who follows the media in Zimbabwe, you know that there are those people who actually sit around and wait to cause the crisis. So those are important fundamentals. But you'll also notice that, I remember when we were in college and we were talking about a crisis, you know, the one thing that we're taught is that usually the crisis is caused by how you actually respond to a situation, right? So if my wife finds me kissing,
I think the podcast starts now.
yeah. So if my wife finds me kissing my ex, that is not the crisis. That is
situation.
It's a situation. Depending on how we want to call it, it could be an emergency, it could be an accident, it could be.
It may just be acting.
Yes. So
how
I respond to that determines whether we go into a crisis or not. So how do you approach it? Definitely be sober-minded about it. Always be ready. And always be available to say something. Even if you don't know what you want to say, never waste a crisis. Never waste a moment to talk about the problem that you are facing, because at that particular moment, you are actually connecting with the new audiences, new people. People then choose sides. In that situation, people are choosing sides. Who's the hero? Who's the villain? You know, so you want to be that guy or that lady who's actually helping people through their emotions as they deal with these things. And ultimately, you sit back and say, yeah, you know what, we had a good crisis.
No, and he's put it excellently. And then what has happened as well is that now people preempt crisis scenarios. You don't just wait and say, well, let's figure it out when it happens. You assume all sorts of situations. You see, it shows that in his marriage, he's imagined a situation where. So I'm showing this crisis book. The key messages and the response and the platforms are ready. So what happens is that most corporates now, or institutions or organizations, they will have a playbook of different scenarios. Yeah. Where if you're a bank, obviously, imagine your data is under. You are being blackmailed, malware, softwares, or the systems fail, or there are no funds, or there are no deposits. Every institute, I'm just saying, depending on your industry and where you play. Imagine the West, and then in your crisis response, have all those things ready. Who constitutes a crisis response team? What are the key messages in that? If there's those sort of things. So, yeah.
Last one for you. What's the most important skill of a strategic communicator?
I think comms people are born. Huh? Do you know that people? I was interviewing someone who was supposed to get into a PR role. The woman was cold. Like, we ask questions. So how will you approach this? No, I'll just wait for it. I'm like, now we're like, we are trying to get an understanding of what you are and what you're about. So I think you have to be someone who loves and enjoys conversing, because you can't fake it.
Yeah.
Thando talks. That's him. He loves engaging intellectually and all those sort of things. You cannot try and say, no, I'll just do it professionally if it doesn't come naturally to you. Before you put any technical skills and training and stuff, I think at the most basic level, just be a communicator and enjoy it. We grew up watching Oslandulu and stuff. It showed that we love this comms thing and drama and stuff.
So, what's that one piece of advice you would give someone who wants to pursue a career in strategic communication?
Yeah, you want to pursue a career in strategic communications. Be creative. Be that person who is creative. Be optimistic. Because remember, as communicators, the bulk of the time we're selling ideas, we're selling dreams, we're selling possibilities. So you must be that kind of a person who is a possibility thinker. Understand numbers. I know this will sound strange in that most communications people struggle with numbers, but understand numbers. Yeah. If you find numbers boring, put a $ next to the numbers. It will help you. It will help you so that you know that however it is that you are going to be communicating, you must bring in the money. And lastly, work on maybe not say work on your relationship skills, but I think you must be a person who loves people genuinely. You need to be someone who loves people, someone who feels what other people feel, someone who listens, and you are able to connect with people. Practice those skills. You might not know that you have the skills now, but it's easy to look at whether you have those skills. Think about how you are interacting with your family at home. Think about how you interact with people at church, how you interact with people in the community. Yeah, it's been a great conversation, man.
It's been beautiful.
Yeah, it's been great. Here's to optimizing your next step. Cheers.